You know, I feel like I've been talking about this game, Disney Epic Mickey 2, The Power of Two, forever. And you know, before I get into the real reason we're here, I wanted to go back and talk about some of the things that we've been talking about for the last year or so, just as a recap for those who heard it before. Some of you very recently. I can't even. Why are you here? I talked to you a week ago.
Good, I can be.
Okay. Anyhow, the first game, Disney Epic Mickey, was actually to this day the best-selling single-platform game Disney's ever done. It's still selling incredibly well, which is really very gratifying. And it was only available on the Nintendo Wii. It was a Wii exclusive. Now with Disney Epic Mickey 2, we're everywhere, not just on the 360.
Sorry, I was adjusting my ringer. No one's actually calling me.
I'm very strict. You know that. No, anyway. We have this kind of fun all the time. Okay, so we're on all of the standard consoles. We're also on PC and Mac, and Wii U, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. And there's a 3DS version of the game, actually a completely unique standalone game called Disney Epic Mickey Power of Illusion. We have two 3DSs there, which you're welcome to play. I hope you have plenty of time because you're not going to want to stop playing. So we went to all platforms. The other thing is, in the first game, no characters spoke. None of them had any dialogue, and it was really just frankly a bad design decision that I made. That Disney fans told us loud and clear they really just wanted to hear their characters talk. So in this game, every character speaks. Some of them even sing, and one of the cool things, which we can talk about if you want, is we were able to give voice to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit for the first time. The Gremlins from 1943 film that Disney never made, we gave them their voice. So here we are, we're this game that's designed to honor 80 years of Disney's creative history, and we're actually changing Disney's future. So from now on, the voice of Oswald is the voice you hear in this game, Frank Welker. The voice of Hortensia, Audrey Wasilewski, is now was cast by us, and Gus Gremlin, Carrie Elwes. I mean, we've been able to cast those voices, which is pretty darn cool. One of the areas that players told us we could have done better on the first game was the camera system. We have worked tirelessly on that. So I hope everybody who plays the game sees all the hard work the team did to make the camera friendlier and more effective. Persistence is a kind of, I can talk for days about this, so I really have to be careful. But basically all it means is when you make a choice, this is not a game about solving puzzles. It's not a game about defeating everything that moves. It's about making the choices you want, solving problems the way you want. And the choices you make last forever. That's persistence, okay? When you decide, I'm going to erase that wall, it's gone until you decide to change it back. If you decide to break something, it's broken forever. You can't ever undo it. So you have to think about how you want to behave because the world is watching. The game is watching how you're playing through the game. We've talked about some of the settings, new settings you go to. Yensid's Workshop from Fantasia, you get to explore it fully. And I think it's a pretty place. Anyway, Oztown, our version of Toontown. You visited it in the first game, but it's a much deeper, literally, richer experience. It's been changed pretty dramatically by events between the first game and the second game. The Disney Gulch, inspired by Frontierland. We've talked a little bit about that. Some of the characters, we created this new kind of character called the Blotworks, which is part animatronic and part toon. The Gremlins I already mentioned, they play a huge role in the new game. Hortensia, Oswald's girlfriend, and Oswald. And again, like all of these have been given a voice by a video game. This is the big thing. Okay, so this is all recap. I'm sorry, I just got to get through all this. But two-player co-op. We made a game with a goal of appealing to everyone. You know, in the same way that a Disney classic film or a Pixar film appeals to men and women, boys and girls, kids and adults. Doesn't matter. And we wanted to make a game that did the same thing, and we did. I mean, if you look at who played the game, about half the people who played Disney Epic Mickey 1 were over 18, and about half were under 18. And sort of demographically speaking, it was split about 50-50 men and women, boys and girls. So we really did succeed in that sense. making a game for everyone. And then we said, but you have to play separately. Now we let you play together. Okay, so now Caroline and Peter can play together in the game. Not right this minute. Not right this minute. In a minute. But here you can see Mickey and Oswald can work together to accomplish things that neither could accomplish on his own. Okay, it is a musical. There are several songs in the game. I hope people like them. I have a vision of the interactive musical of the future, which someday we'll do. But here, songs, I mean, it's a Disney game. How do you not have songs, right? So we have a bunch of songs. You may have, has everybody seen, is there anybody here who hasn't seen the intro to the game, the intro cinematic? You haven't seen the intro cinematic?
I'm sorry.
One, that's enough. I might actually show it. Anyway, okay, but there's singing in the game. Okay, and with all of that, you would think there's nothing new to talk about, right? I mean, you could all just like go and look at all the interviews I've done over the last year and write your stories, but there's plenty of new stuff. We've got a new land that we're showing for the first time. It's based on Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland, which was a part of Frontierland back in 1955. Well, I could dive into details here, but we are going to a part of that ride called Rainbow Caverns. This is our concept art. That's the actual game. Here's a little bit of video footage. That's an important little sign. We'll talk more about that. And you'll be able to play this today if you want to get hands-on with the game. There you can see Oswald and Mickey working together. Now, the mine train, actually this, well, again, if we have time, I'll tell you all sorts of stories about this too, but parts of this rail are still at the park. And even the Imagineers didn't know. They didn't realize that part of this old ride was still there. And I saw it when I was out on Tom Sawyer Island a little while ago, and it just blew my mind. But you'll actually get to ride through this in the game. And Rainbow Falls, this is our concept art. That's the actual game, just so you, in case you couldn't tell. Concept art game, concept art game, concept art game.
Are the dwarf statues based upon the giant dwarf statues at the Disney studio?
Not so much.
Are they doing that the same?
No, they're just
dwarfs.
Just dwarfs.
Did the original ride have a Snow White theme, or is that just kind of...
No, the thing about Wasteland, okay. The thing about Wasteland is it's Oswald's trying to recreate a place he's never been.
Oh, okay.
So it's a mashup of things that don't really belong together.
Okay.
You know?
Be right there.
And you'll be able to see all of that. Other new stuff. We've introduced costumes. So you can go into the hat shop on Main Street, it's our version of Main Street, and put on different costumes. Both Mickey and Oswald can wear them. You can either collect the parts of the costume, or be rewarded with them, or buy them in the shop. And obviously they change characters' abilities. I'm not going to tell it. I want you guys to play the game and figure this out for yourself. But it should be fairly obvious what a suit of armor would do for Oswald. Now, the funny thing is, this was inspired by Oh, What a Night, a 1928 Oswald cartoon, in which Oswald did not ever put on a suit of armor. So we figured he deserved to wear the armor. We're gonna let him put it on. But now, not only do we have paint and thinner, you can decide whether to draw and erase things as Mickey. You can decide whether to use Oswald's electrical ability to stun things or sort of override electronic devices. But now you can also put on costumes to change your character's ability, which gives you more ways to interact with the world. We've also introduced this concept of inkwells. How you're playing determines what the inkwells do for you. You can through your play style, create a whole network of inkwells that will make you indelible. They're indelible inkwells. Okay, you could probably imagine what indelible ink would do for a cartoon character. Or play a different way, and you can turn all the inkwells into invisible inkwells, which will obviously make you invisible. You know, I mean, I've worked on Thief and Deus Ex. There has to be a stealth game in there somewhere, right? So, but now, paint thinner, electricity, costumes, playstyle determines what the inkwells do for you. I mean, if you're getting into all sorts of combat, being indelible might be a good thing, being invulnerable. If you like avoiding fighting, being invisible might be useful. We have a question from the audience.
Basically, does the paint wear off, or?
That is a wonderful question. It does. Okay. If you take damage after a while or over time, this will start to go away. I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. And if you move too fast, the invisible stuff sort of goes away, so you become visible again. So you have to be very careful.
Can you attack while you're invisible?
No, you cannot.
Ah, okay.
But here, so you can see here, there's an enemy over here. Here's Invisible Mickey. Sneak game. And he can't be seen. And here you see, like, why don't you come on up here? Come on up. Come on. Come on. So see Oswald here, he's all gold and indelible. But you see Mickey, he's got a little bit of gold there. It's starting to wear off on him, so he's going to be in danger pretty soon. Don't you dare eat my bagel.
I'm not.
Okay.
You got cream cheese on it, surely.
Okay. We've got a new place called the Observatory. And I'm not going to tell you really much anything about this at all, but if you find this on Main Street and you look through it, you might learn something about the world of the cartoon universe and the wasteland and all that stuff. Pretty cool. We've got pins. Why don't you tell them how many pins? This is Adam Chapin, by the way. He works at Junction Point. He will be my ace driver for today. And we were talking about pins just this morning.
There are over 150 unique pins. You can collect them all in one playthrough. It takes a lot of work.
Which I did not think was possible, by the way. And that is, but that's the beauty of these games. I'll let you go. I'm sorry, I just got to jump in right there. The whole point of these games is every player has a unique experience. And so the games they're always set up. This game, Deus Ex, I mean, all the games I've worked on are set up so you can't do everything in one playthrough. But they're also flexible enough that players always figure out how to do stuff that the designers didn't know was possible. And so it freaked me out. I heard, it was probably about a month or two ago, one of the other testers told me, yeah, we got everything in one playthrough. And I just said, no, that's not possible. It can't be done. And yeah, it apparently can. So there you go. Best laid plans of mice and men and game designers.
Do not say mice. That's what my dad wrote. And when the first one, they said...
Caroline.
Do
Hey, this is more interesting than what I'm saying. So we have a pin shop on Main Street. And again, lots of pins that you can collect. And you can go to the pin shop and show off your collection to your friends and all that. So then, unless you're a crazy tester, you're not going to get them all in one playthrough. So your set will look different than your friend's set of pins.
How exactly do you share the pins with friends? Is that just some kind of online stuff? Or?
No, it's you don't share them. You can actually.
It's just
well,
displayed.
yeah,
you need
it-
to like
it
bring
dis-
friends
it
over and
displays.
be like, check out my pins.
Check back later. We have some interesting
Okay.
thoughts about that. But you go to the pin shop and show them. We also introduced a photo mode. I mean, there's a Photoshop. You can get yourself a camera, and any place you see one of these. I mean, at the parks they do this all the time, right? There are photo op areas, and you can take pictures. And those are really important as sort of you can just do it for fun because again, every player is going to experience and see different things. So you can take pictures of your unique adventure, go to the Photoshop, put them in an album, and show off for your friends. But there are also quests associated with the photo mode that you can undertake. And of course, we're on the Wii U. The big thing, in a weird sort of way, is just hey, Nintendo players are going to get to play the game in HD now, and that is a screenshot from the Wii U version. You can also access the sketches from the gamepad from the little controllers, And it's got a dynamically updating map, which is huge. One of the other things we heard about the first game was player direction was sometimes an issue. It wasn't always clear where you were, or where you're supposed to go. So if you're a Wii U player, you have the distinct advantage of having a real-time map. So your position is always indicated on the map, and you know exactly where you are, and important places on the map are highlighted and stuff. So Wii U players are going to find that, I think, really useful. So that's the console version. Like I said, we have a 3DS version. We have 2 of them over there, which you can all play. Disney Power of Illusion is a unique standalone game. We didn't want to just do a port. We wanted to do a game set in Wasteland featuring Mickey and Oswald, using paint and thinner, okay, to draw and erase things. But it is a completely different game on a completely unique platform. I am not Peter Ong. Neither is this Peter Ong. But the game is a tribute to Castle of Illusion, okay, the classic Disney side-scrolling platform game from, what was that, 1995 or something. Miserable has been trapped in Wasteland. I wish I could take credit for this, but Peter, not Peter David, Peter Ong, came up with, I'm just having fun. Peter Ong came up with the idea of, he just said, why don't you have forgotten video game history in Wasteland? And I went, oh, how could I not have thought of that? And so, Miserable and the Castle of Illusion, forgotten video game characters, end up in Wasteland, and she's got a scheme to escape Wasteland by trapping not forgotten characters in Wasteland and stealing the essence of their heart, their fame. So you'll get to rescue Simba, Peter Pan, Goofy, and others. There are over 30 characters you can rescue. When you rescue them, they actually show up. My favorite character. They show up in your fortress, okay? Now, you might not rescue all of them. You might not be able to find all of them. But whoever you rescue shows up in your fortress. And as you interact with them, talk to them, do quests for them, help them out, not only will they give you help, they'll tell you about quests, they'll sell you items or give you items that will help you in your quests. But as you work with them, your fortress will change. Their areas of the fortress will become more complete, more like the original places they come from. So ultimately, like if you really help out Scrooge, he'll help you out a bunch, and you'll restore his office to what it should be in Duckburg. Now, we've shown a couple of lands earlier, like a Peter Pan-inspired land. A Peter Pan-inspired, she's scaring me now. But obvious, where do you think we're going?
Under the Sea to Atlantis.
There you go. Okay, so this is some concept art from Ariels World. More concept art. The cool thing is, so, I've talked a lot about our fidelity to Disney's history in the console games. It was true for the 3DS game, too. We actually worked with feature animation and got original assets. I mean, characters and background paintings and stuff. They gave us access to all that stuff so we could make all of these worlds look and feel as much like the real thing as possible. Here's a screenshot from the game. Now, the way the game works, you'll see it here in a minute. The way it works is you draw things on the bottom screen to change the platforming experience on the top. And as you can see, we were trying to recreate the pure joy and simplicity of 16-bit side-scrolling platform play. And if you haven't played a classic 16-bit platform game in a while, it's a thing of beauty. I'm telling you. You'll judge for yourself, but there's some pretty special, simple, pure magic about this stuff. Underwater, you have to deal with currents and stuff. Each land has its own platforming challenges. Oh, cool. See, there we go. And that's, I shouldn't even be showing that one because we were trying to keep that secret, but there it is. Anyway, there might be a big battle with someone recognizable.
Ooh, Maleficent.
Say that for the cameras. I don't think they heard you. Okay, so that's Power of Illusion, and then oh yeah, none of us are Becky Klein or Kevin Curran. These are folks from the Disney Archives, without whom we could not have made the game. And whoops, this is just a video we did for we did an event in Anaheim, and part of the game is set in Club 13, which is our version of Club 33, one of the most exclusive parts of the park.
You were constructing bill works for the bad doctor.
Yeah, well, Big Bad Pete asked me to help out with the club.
So you'll visit this place in the game. So that's... Well, I'm supposed to be talking here. That's the gag, you know. Anyway, so that is that, and with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If you don't, we're gonna have a very short little meeting.
The costumes that are added, is that in any way inspired by the Magical Quest, the Super Nintendo game?
You know, in the sense that you know there are some similarities. Yeah, it's kind of weird because I tried very hard not to go back and play all those old games because I didn't want to. I mean, I played them when they came out,
yeah.
Right? But I didn't want to go borrowing stuff from them. It was just a natural thing to do. We wanted to do it in the first game. You can't do everything, and so
yeah.
I wouldn't say it was like, oh, they did that in that game. We should do it ourselves.
So there will be no Peter Pan grappling hook?
Not in this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually have two separate things. Can you talk a little about the composition? I know you know there's now musical and stuff added. How is that going to interact or have any addition to James Dooley's new work? And is he actually working on the musical section?
Yeah. Yeah. So James Dooley does all the music for Disney Big Mickey games. I mean, he will do that as long as I can convince him to keep doing it. I probably just made a contractual agreement on video right there, didn't I? I bet Disney Legal is going to love me for that. Anyway, yeah, Jim, just so for those who don't know, Jim Dooley is an Emmy Award-winning composer. He won an Emmy for the Best Original Score for Pushing Daisies a couple of years ago. And before when we were working on the first game, I auditioned about a dozen composers. Not including Jim, interestingly enough. I told them all, okay, give me a version of the Small World song, but inside out, whatever that means to you, you know, and then give me a Mickey's theme, a theme we can play in combat, in exploration, in just standing around. That would be Mickey's theme, and I had settled on one guy I was going to use, who I will not name. And then a CD crossed my desk, and it was Jim Dooley's demo CD. And I just said, it's too late. I can't do it. I don't want to. I've already made my mind up. I got to get going. And someone from Disney convinced me, just listen to this. Just listen to this. And I, okay, fine, I'll listen to it. And it blew my mind. I mean, his demo CD is fantastic. And so I called him up that day. I gave him the test, and 24 hours later, he sent back the most remarkable music you can imagine. In fact, if you listen to our closing credits music, that is Jim's audition. Okay, it's just that good. And when we started doing the second game, I mean, of course he was going to do the music again, but we asked him, can you write songs? And it's like he turned into a little kid. It was like, yes, no one ever asks me, So Jim wrote all the songs. And we got Mike Himmelstein, who's a terrific lyricist, to write lyrics, working with, we had Marv Wolfman actually working on our script, and Marv and my story guy Brian and Mike worked on the lyrics. And it turned out great. The songs are really, I mean, I'm totally prejudiced, but I think they're terrific. And I want to see Rocky Horror kind of sing-alongs at Comic-Con next year,
The other question was totally separate from composition. Are we going to see anything like this?
The collector's edition?
Yes.
This is another case where I strongly urge everyone, all of your readers, to send cards and letters to Bob Iger at Disney, the Disney Corporation. No, anyway, there are no plans in North America, but in Europe and Australia and every other territory they're doing one. For some reason in North America they're not.
Is it like the one that came from part one?
It's
like an oddball?
cooler. It's not going to be available in North America, so what difference does it make?
Can you order it off of Amazon UK?
I have no idea. If you can, maybe you can order. They're putting it in like a paint can, and it's going to have like little like Japanese style capsule toys of the characters, and it's pretty a little clue book, a little mini hint book and everything. Yeah, for some, I make the games, I don't sell them, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not doing a collection.
If you get an edition that's from overseas, you can play it over here.
No.
I have no idea.
Well,
They're
on
PAL.
PlayStation
They're-
3.
It's like
Oh,
regular
yeah, it
DVDs.
would be PAL, that's right, it would be a.
I think on PlayStation 3 you could. I
No,
think that's
still
region.
region protected. You can't play the game. You can.
Perhaps we should move on from this. I don't know. But actually, let me answer a question you didn't ask, actually, about the music. A lot of people ask me, are the songs interactive?
Yeah, well, I
And
did, yeah.
You did ask,
Yeah.
yeah. And the answer to that is no, not at this time.
So they're just cutscenes.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been wanting to do a musical game for quite a while, and I have a lot of crazy ideas about how to make songs into mechanics. You know, they're really interesting. They can be interesting game mechanics, and not just in the sense that there'd be beat matching or rhythm games or performance games. You know, but I think there are some other things that we could do with songs in games that I'd like to try. When I proposed all this to Disney, there was strong support for, oh yeah, of course you're going to put songs in a game. I mean, of course. But there's also a fear that, I'm completely honest about, I have no idea if the ideas I've got for interactive songs would work. So there's some risk associated with that. And there's some fear that gamers won't accept songs in games. And I think that's nonsense. But I kind of have to prove it, you know? So this is like, I'm dipping the toe in the water, and I'm just trying to convince people that it's okay, songs are fine, everybody will like them, you know? It'll be okay, everybody relax, you know?
Is the pacing of the songs, is it like the pacing of a musical where it's not like they're happening all the time, but they kind of punctuate moments?
Yes, yeah, they're big story moments, big moments where characters reveal something of themselves emotionally, that sort of thing. Yeah, cool. Any other questions? Yeah.
As far as Power of Illusion, now are the characters going to speak in that as well?
It's a 3DS.
Okay.
No, there's text. There's text. Yeah, good. You're the first person to ask me that, actually. Anything else? Yeah.
With Power of Illusion sort of being, like a spiritual sequel to Castle of Illusion?
Oh, very much so.
Is there any plans to possibly re-release Castle of Illusion, maybe on Virtual Console or something?
No comment.
I guess while we're on the subject of no comments, how about that DuckTales game?
No comment.
In respect to the Gremlins, figuring out how to voice them.
Sorry?
In respect to the Gremlins, of figuring out how to voice them, did you go to the original cartoon, or even further, or hopefully even further back to the actual source work to try to inspire what they may sound like?
Fascinating question. There were no original cartoons. The Gremlins
There was
never
never a
appeared.
cartoon,
There was
okay.
never a cartoon. In
It's just the
1940,
book, okay.
1942, Walt Disney and Roald Dahl, who was in the
Yeah,
RAF
yeah.
at that point, were working on this story together, and they actually got as far as a complete set of storyboards, which I have held
Right.
in my hands. There was most of a script. The game. The film had been broken down shot by shot.
It was never released?
It was never made.
It never got finished?
It was never
I
made.
didn't realize that.
I've heard rumors from more than one source inside Disney that they did some voice tests, that there might be some audio somewhere, but the archives at Disney are so huge they don't even know what they have. I mean, they know a lot of what they have, but there are still mysteries being uncovered there, and I'm hopeful that someday they'll find the voice tests. But no, I mean, the only time the Gremlins appeared, they appeared in a series of comic strips by Walt Kelly, who did Pogo, and they appeared in some Disney comics that way. They appeared in a Lifesavers ad that appeared in Life magazine, which I have framed on my wall.
They were Dark Horse had published.
Yeah, Dark Horse did they re-released the book.
Original book as
They
well.
re-released the book, and they did a new series of 4 comic books.
Right.
But that was
it.
70 years later. I mean,
Right.
so that's it. So what we did is we just read the book and read Walt Kelly's strips. I mean, I did read the Dark Horse stuff. Gus is supposed to. We got to write up psychological profiles and backstories, and I would say stuff like, you know, I want Gus to be sort of a gruff old Colonel Blimp sort of character. You know, and we had a French Gremlin, and we worked with Disney Character Voice, one of the departments at Disney, and that does all of the voice recording for everything Disney does. Incredibly good at their jobs, by the way. Holy cow. And we would send them our scripts and our character profiles, and I would do funny voices, and Brian, our story guy, would do funny voices, and they'd send us recordings of a dozen people or so, and we would say, that one. And so that's how Cary Elwes was just the best choice. He did the best audition for Gus the Gremlin. There were some really actually pretty big name actors who auditioned for some of the voices and didn't get them. I can't talk about that anyway. Yeah, we worked very closely with Disney Character Voice, and we got to make the final call, and they based their castings on our scripts, which was amazing. Oh yeah.
You stopped yourself from talking about the sharing of the pins and how to do that other than just bring your friends over to your living room. Can you not stop yourself?
No. The reality is, I'm kind of a kitchen sink designer. It's like when you start a project, you just sort of get every idea from everybody, and then it's almost like sculpting. It's like you just sort of cut out the stuff that doesn't fit. And there's stuff that we just couldn't do in this game. So I don't want to get anybody's hopes up like, oh, there's going to be an online pin trading thing, we're going to be releasing this downloadable content in 3 weeks. That is completely not true, okay? I hope in the future we get to come back to some ideas we had about how to facilitate pin interactions, let's just say. But that implies that there are plans and that people are working, and that's how I get in trouble,
Gotcha.
Okay. Which I guess I just did, didn't I? Yeah.
And pins they have no effect on actual gameplay. They're more just for display.
They have a very large effect on it.
We were talking about that earlier today too.
There are pin buffs or spirit buffs that you
This is
can
an
get.
exclusive. We haven't talked about this.
No, we haven't talked about this at all.
And that's pretty much all we're going to say.
Fair enough.
Yeah, pins have an effect on gameplay.
Okay.
Where in the production line are you?
Done.
Oh, you're done, okay.
Yeah.
No, I know, because we had someone at the event in Anaheim earlier. Is the Wii U version done, or is that still the kinks being worked out on that?
There are a couple of kinks being worked out on that. But the only thing, that is fully playable too. I mean, it's just, there are a couple places where they're working on performance and that kind of thing. And the reason that we're not committed to a date on the Wii U is not that
I thought it was part of the launch lineup. Okay.
Here's let me finish. No one has been through Nintendo's approval process on the Wii U.
Okay.
We have no idea how long it's going to take to get through approval. Disney's not going to be the reason it doesn't hit that long.
All right.
Okay. It's just I know what it takes to get through, on all the other platforms. But on the Wii U, it's a new platform. So.
How long has the Wii U version been in development? Did it start at the same time as everything else?
No. It couldn't have. I mean,
Yeah.
the Wii U, the development hardware wasn't available to guys like me until fairly recently. It was 6 months ago or something. No one was working on Wii U stuff that I know of until fairly recently.
Did you learn any new stuff since the presentation in San Diego Comic-Con?
Wait, say that again?
Did you add any stuff?
Oh yeah,
any late minute stuff?
Well, it's not like we went to San Diego and said, ooh, we should come up with a new idea.
Mm-hmm.
But there was plenty of stuff that we didn't talk about, like all the stuff I talked about today: the costumes, the pin buffs, the observatory, the ink wells. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that we haven't been talking about, just so there would be a reason to come back and talk to you guys again.
Well, they were already in the game.
Oh yeah. No, trust me, we've done nothing but tune and debug since probably January, February, something like that. Yeah, I mean that's the way. At least I can't speak for anybody else, but the way the games that I work on, the way they go is you get them to the point where they're fully playable start to finish, and no fun at all, and then you spend as much time as you can like tuning. You should have seen Deus Ex like September of 1999. You could see the potential of it, but it was no fun. I mean, you play start to finish, and oh my God, it was no fun. And then we spent a year making it fun, you know. And that's pretty much what we've done on this one too. So like, if you played the game at E3, for example, in like June, July, I mean, we've been tuning and tweaking the camera system, the gameplay, all sorts of things to make the game more fun. But we haven't added anything. No.
So that
frankly, if anybody had added anything, I would have, you know.
So that means that the decision to have a Wii U version came when the game was already in a rough final form?
Oh yeah, it was absolutely. I mean, well, you know, we started having conversations with Nintendo probably a year ago, a little bit more, right, when they first rolled out the information, and then it was just a question of, okay, when do we get development hardware? Okay, how much can we actually include in this game? You know, based on how much time we have, all that sort of stuff.